I'm hitting record, Higgins.
All right,
we're doing it again.
We're recording?
One more time, yeah.
You hear that?
I see it.
Because I don't think I can record anymore. I'm lost in the spins.
Could you get it closer? Really get the listeners in on that spin, yeah. That's very spooky.
God, they're gonna hate this. Yeah, we're doing a Halloween episode, folks. Cut to theme song.
Welcome back, everybody, to a very spooky, very ooky episode of Comrades, Cocktails, and Comics. It's a show where I, Snoop Lynch, and my co-host, Higgins Stern.
Hey, that's me.
Oh my God, he's right there. Scared me. This year, for our special Halloween bonanza of an episode, we are going to talk about the first 7 chapters of Uzumaki.
Finally? I
Finally?
think we've talked about it since the 1st October.
Higgins, you never shut up about it. But luckily for you, Christmas came a little early.
Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, man. Nice.
Thanks. Anyway, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about a drink that we're drinking. We can do that right now if you want. It's not super special, but...
Yeah, we got lazy, and we just wanted to drink something that we like, and then we figured we could just spin the spoon in it, and it would fit. So it's just a gin and tonic.
Yeah, but a scary gin and tonic.
Yeah, because we spun it in circles.
Because spins, that's right, Higgins, yeah. Why are spins so scary this year?
God, this book you wouldn't think spirals, but this book, man, it really takes every twist and turn to make you see how scary a spiral can be if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Twist, turns, and then do it all again. You just keep going round and round and round till you get to the center of that spiral. And at the center of that spiral, you find the author of this book.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because this guy's probably he's probably just scared all the time, right?
Actually, so we're talking about, of course, Junji Ito, mangaka. I think that's what they call people who write books in Japan.
Oh, okay.
The manga kind specifically. It's another manga episode. I know people are excited.
This one's at least relatively in the popular culture of things.
Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Junji Ito has a lot to do with that, because really they should call him Junji Big Spooky Spiral Man. Because he made Spiral scary back in the 90s when this was originally published.
Is that right? Man, I didn't even look.
That's okay, I did, Higgins. And I can tell you for a fact, or at least what the internet told me was fact, that this was originally published as a weekly serial back in a magazine called Big Comic Spirits from 98 to 99.
I could see this being that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much an anthology with a little bit of stuff that clips it together eventually.
Yeah, if I had to describe it to just your usual person, your non-manga reading person, I would kind of say it has a similar formula to a CSI meets a Monster of the Week,
basically,
CW kind of thing.
Like Supernatural, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's got, different spooky thing happens every single chapter to different people, but there is an overarching spin spiral thing that probably is going to be behind it all.
So what you're assuming is by the last chapter there will be a big bad?
We'll have to wait and find out. We probably won't hit that for at least another couple of years.
I know, I won't tell you guys.
Oh, you've read it all before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've read it all before.
Okay. Did you?
And I kind of remember. There was parts that I forgot, but I basically remembered all the general points. When I got to it, I was like, oh yeah, that one.
Okay, cool. I honestly forgot that you said you had already read it, and that's actually good going forward, because I have a few little gripes, and without giving too much away, I want you to be able to tell me whether or not it's a gripe worth having or if it will get better.
I got you.
But yeah, we explain a little bit about who the author is, who made this. Like I said, big.
He actually
comics.
draws it too. So
yeah, so that's the biggest thing that I knew about Junji Ito. I'm just gonna call him Ito from now on.
All right.
But the only thing I'd heard about Ito and his stories were his art is what really makes it stand out, because it's horror manga, which horror mangas, it's been around before him and it'll be around after. It's some pretty big names in that industry now, but he's always the one that stands out, and a lot of that has to do with his art. And so I was told, and after reading this, I totally get it.
He draws so spooky.
Yeah,
just like watching this main girl like walking around in like a field is like, oh god, you made the field spooky. She's just walking, man. She's just walking. I don't want to be scared yet.
Yeah, it another reason why I said it kind of gives me that CSI like supernatural monster of the week vibe is the setting that it's in. It's just kind of this. Higgins, I have a synopsis here actually. If you just want to
you can do
hit
that real quick if you want,
in case you haven't read the book, even though we've discussed that you have. So basically, Higgins, this series will tell the story of Kuruzacho, a fictional city in which a supernatural curse involving spirals plagues the citizen of said town. Now, together, some idiot girl whose name is Kiri Goshima and her even bigger idiot boyfriend Shuichi Saito must figure out what exactly is causing all these scary times, and they got to save the town, which is also full of idiots.
I won't take any Shuichi slander because he's got the biggest grasp on things, folks.
Maybe, but still an idiot.
He's not. Did he? All right. Did he leave? No. But did he know that he should? Yes.
Still didn't do it though.
He's got his girl back there, and she's just being a stubborn lass.
Just to get into it, like this was the main question I had for you, since you have read all of this. Is there a reason that everyone in this town is a complete idiot and won't leave the town?
It's the spiral, man.
Okay.
Everybody gets infected by it, and whether they know it or not, it's just like, it's just very much a snowball. Like at first it's like one person, and then eventually like city, and then after that everybody's kind of, this is kind of getting out of hand, folks. And then,
maybe waited a little too long to deal with it, but
maybe they figure it out, maybe they don't.
Yeah. After reading the first 7 chapters of this, the only way it would make sense that the story still goes and everyone doesn't just immediately burn that place to the ground and leave is that it's the curse as well that's making them stay. And it's a metaphor, isn't it? It's like you just keep getting sucked up in the old spinny spiral.
Yeah, you can kind of tell that it's more than just people, because like even in the first like issue, we'll like hop in. Her boyfriend's dad gets really obsessed with spirals.
Yeah,
and it eventually kills him. And we'll talk about how gruesome it is, but
we have to. Yeah,
it eventually kills him, and like the smoke goes up in the air, and then it goes into the water, and then we get the setup for us 2 chapters down where it's her dad getting obsessed by spirals and stuff. And
yeah, I do think that is the clever part of the writing, is it sets up the next event, or even say events 2 chapters from then. It sets that up well enough, and it's engaging, and it's kind of like it is that monster of the week formula, but it's done well enough where it just keeps you going and wanting to read more and see what else can happen, because I feel like this would have gotten boring, even with the fantastic art, if everyone had been affected the same way that the first victim, Shuichi's father, was. But luckily, it doesn't go that way, and there's different stories and these different personalities and different people clashing over the spiral eventuates in weirder stuff than what we had seen before.
Oh yeah, you get to see kind of how supernatural it actually gets. And like, as it's close to the monster of the week stuff, but I feel like the tie to each episode is at least more significant than most of the time. A lot of the time in those shows, it's like, oh, we're going on a road trip and a big bad's hit this area. Let's stop.
Yeah.
We gotta stop. And then the one guy's like, I don't want to stop. Like, let's just make it to the place we're trying to get to. And he's like, but we gotta help these people. And like, that's the biggest tie they get. At least with this, it's like the characters know each other and have a reason to care about the thing that might be killing them because of this spiral thing, or just messing them up because of the spiral thing.
And there are elements of that. I think what frustrated me with the writing, I have no complaints about the art, just getting that out there. I think it really is as amazing as people say. And for a lot of people, this is that guy's
magnum opus.
Yeah, that's his book. But he's also done other things. I think you have a couple of his books laying around the house here. It's like No Longer Human, I think, is also him, maybe?
Which, that's just his art.
Okay, he just did art on.
Yeah, that's some other guy's book, Uzumaki or something like that.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly. I think that's one of his names.
Yeah, not to take away from that guy. Like, I'm sure the story itself is good, but the only thing I have heard about that story was that he did art on it, at least. And
oh, yeah. That's how I got it suggested to me. It wasn't suggested to me as this guy's semi-autobiographical book. It
Yeah.
was suggested to me as, oh,
This dude's
Junji Ito does art on this, and it's like kind of terrifying
yeah,
and disgusting and creepy and great.
and I think the reasons why are kind of what you just said. It's creepy and disgusting, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's mostly, at least in the context of this story we read, it's mostly body horror.
Oh yeah,
And the way he draws people is there are so many kind of real life features that he puts into each person, and
they're very much not like, they don't look like anime tropes of people like in most manga. They lend themselves to a slightly more like human looking drawing. Like their eyes aren't huge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They at least fit proportions a little better.
he's able to incorporate that realism with these gross and disturbing images of characters that up until that point where they kind of transform, they look like, normal people, and then to see them morph into these just weird spindly, like just spiral creatures, it hits a lot harder that way, because I don't see it coming from his art until the second it happens, and then when it does, it's still like it's a different kind of beautiful to look at.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
you don't want to look at it, but you kind of have to because of how detailed. And talking about the black and white, there are a few pages of the version that you and I read that are in color, and
those are great too.
they are great. But I honestly do think that this works better in black and white.
Oh
And-
yeah, it wouldn't be nearly as spooky, I don't think, if we weren't looking at it through like this lens.
And I think just kind of having that like rough style of shading with this horror element, like that kind of just intensifies those moments. Whereas in color, I'm not saying it couldn't be scary, but it's almost chaotic on the page when a lot of these like bigger scenes happen. And I think it being in black and white helps. And I think that just seems to be the general consensus, because there is a
Full color version.
well, I'm sure there is, but there's actually a adaptation that I think Adult Swim is doing of this story.
That was like another half of the reason. I was actually, one of the things I pulled up. It's coming out in October of next year.
Yeah, so it'll be out when we do the next 7 chapters of this thing.
Yeah.
So that's great. Yeah, and that's going to be in black and white. And I think one of the big reasons is that it has a more like lasting effect on you when it's colored that way, or
Yeah,
not
and
colored that way. I
From
guess.
what I've seen, it looks like they just animate his characters and his whole, like, they're just animating his
The drawings.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and I think that could actually work really well, just given the tone of the story. The only thing I'm not after reading just these 7, the only thing I'm not sure about is apparently it's only going to be 4 episodes, and that's the entire book.
I mean, it's possible depending on like how long they are and all that stuff. I mean, one of these issues wouldn't be a full like 30-minute show. It may be.
Yeah.
I'd see it being like a 10, 15 tops. Like each one gets their own little thing. And then a lot of them they could probably mix together because, like we said, they're intertwined stories. But
Mhm.
like, there's like the one where the people live in the same like kind of rundown houses and they can hear each other from opposite sides.
Yeah, it's in a
And
poor
that's-
area, so the walls are paper thin and they hate each other.
That's one of those ones that's like, we don't really know these characters. It's kind of a one-off. Like
Mhm.
maybe we don't put that one in or something like that. That one's great though. So
Yeah, I was about to say I'm kind of bummed because I was gonna ask you which of the 7 we read, since they are kind of they're like little self-contained stories for the most part. Which one was your favorite?
All right,
And-
which one was your favorite and which one was the scariest one to you?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, those are the two that I want answered, I think.
All right. Well, I mean, if you say so, Higgins. I mean, I don't want to turn you down. Not on the podcast anyway.
Yeah.
We are business at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
For the favorite, it was actually the one about the couple, and
That one is a good one. And I'll tell you one thing, it fits into the story later. So
they come back.
I don't want to like say anything, but like the houses and maybe those characters
Are important
are
later on.
important later on
Yeah.
to the plot. So it's very worthwhile.
Okay. I don't know. I think I like that one the most just because I noticed a lot of kind of familiar elements in it. Like he basically just told his version of Romeo and Juliet a little bit.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
about these two families who just hate each other except the kids, and all they want is to be together. And by the end of it, they're so desperate to get away from their horrible parents that they use the power of the spiral to literally intertwine themselves
and become basically like a Nessie of sorts.
Yeah, like a weird snake water monster.
Yeah.
They just go into the ocean, and at this point, no one's ever heard from them again. And that's the part in the story that also made me realize that there must be something up with this whole town, because by the time you see that one, 2 people had already died, I think, and everyone's just going about their day afterwards.
Well, they kind of figure something out by the end of it, I think, or they at least try to think something, because they're not, by the last issue we read, they're burying their dead versus cremating them in order to like maybe not make the spiral smoke that goes in the lake to make all this crazy stuff happen.
Yeah, because every time they cremate someone, specifically, I think they say from this town, then it causes that black spooky
even in towns
smoke.
Even if they get cremated
away,
in another
yeah.
town, the smoke still goes up and somehow ends up in their little pond.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming is the center of the spiral, because the town's the spiral.
I won't say anything because you.
Could you like?
I mean, like.
Oh no, I got you. I won't say anything,
But
you're saying wait. You're saying. No, okay. He's not saying anything.
I'm not saying anything.
Good. Well, that's my current theory.
All right, but.
And I have no reason to believe after what you've just told me or not told me that that's true.
The more I talk about it, the more I realize that they are interconnected, even more than I thought. What was your scariest episode, though?
The scariest,
your scariest issue, sorry.
Out of the ones we read.
Out of the 7?
So, let's see. To catch people up, we saw... The main character, I guess, is Kiri, the girl. And for whatever reason, she wants to date Shuichi.
She is dating Shuichi.
She is dating Shuichi. And his parents are the first to go. I think the scariest might have been actually that second one that involves his mother.
Okay, that's the one that I was gonna say too, because it's I don't do well with like the body stuff in the first place,
Mhm.
and then like the scariest part in this whole like book to me was like when she's sitting there in the office with the doctor, and her Shuichi realizes that there's a spiral in the ear based off like the doctor's like things, because I'm just sitting there like she's gonna stab herself in the ear, because when I first read it I was like she's the one that's reading this and seeing this picture, and like she's like I gotta get all these spirals off of me. She cuts off her fingertips and cuts off all her hair because it could it spirals on her body.
The whirls around, yeah. And the reason that she's so freaked out by it is because
her husband was enraptured by it.
Yeah,
and it killed him because of it.
He spun himself around in a weird tub that a guy brought over.
That was the most disturbing, picture in the whole book too.
Talking about a lot of body horror stuff, I think that is the most heavy to really just kind of show you this is what you're in for. Because I think it's in the first or second chapter that happens, but he can spin his tongue, like he can stick his tongue out 6 feet and then just completely coil it.
Oh yeah, it's like
at one point
full on like chameleon style tongue where it spirals up and stuff after they catch.
He's got his eyes spin separately from each other.
Oh yeah,
in
they're
different directions or whatever.
Spinning wildly in his eye sockets and stuff.
That's the stuff, and that's why I say the one with the mom is probably the scariest for me, because that's the kind of body horror that is more than like capable of happening to like maybe not the spinning eyes thing, but like the thing with her stabbing herself in the ear because she went crazy and she was trying to get rid of spirals. That is a very haunting way to end that chapter, because I think also she doesn't immediately die from that injury. It just basically gives her a constant sense of vertigo, and she dies from fear.
Yeah, because she gets the vertigo, and so she's in a constant state of spinning all the way until she actually dies from her injuries.
Yeah, which wasn't much longer than that at the end, because
I don't think it was much longer. So maybe she didn't suffer for too long, but eventually what killed her is the spiral.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that, like with the show coming out, is if they nail casting, like a voice actor could have a field day with that episode just for them. Yeah. And so I think the actual horror stuff is where his writing is strong. And I am going strictly based off the first 7 chapters I've read, the writing for me was the weakest part, because a lot of it is disbelief to the point where, unless there's a good enough reason for them to stay in this town, it's not even the fact that they stay in this town. I understand that this is their town that they've all known. They grew up in this town. Their whole family's in this town. Like, I get that. That's probably also a part of the pull of the spiral, I'm sure. But the fact that it takes like 7 chapters before the girl is finally, okay, let's do something about this. She saw some horrific things.
Oh yeah, she's seen a lot of stuff, and like the biggest horror trope of all, like if a ghost is in your house, or if like stuff that happens that might seem like a ghost, the parents are like, well, we can't leave. We just bought this $1 million house. Like we dropped all our cash, and if this place is haunted, no one's gonna buy it and buy it back from us. So
your dad just set up the kiln in the backyard next to the lake.
Stick up for their own like ideals, I guess. And I think she's got a little bit of like a hero complex where she thinks she can save the people in the town that are being attacked by this horrible thing. Basically, once it affects her, she's like, okay, let's do something now.
She's the only one.
She almost dies.
She's the only one that doesn't die, I think. Something, because, and she almost does die. The only reason she doesn't is because
Shuichi helps her.
Well, yeah. Well, another thing that I did enjoy about Ito's writing is he does know when to add a little bit of levity to his stories. Like, there are just kind of schlocky B horror movie moments in these chapters.
You're telling me you didn't like it when he like pulled a Hercules and cut himself out outside of her like hair monster?
Higgins, I'm not telling you I like it. I'm telling you I love it, because I thought it was ridiculous and I was all on board for it, because I needed that after reading every other horrible thing. And like, there's some other jokes kind of mixed in before that as well.
That's all I could think of was like Hercules fighting the Hydra when he gets eaten, and then all of a sudden you just see a sword pop out and like slice the whole thing.
It's just funnier in this because it's like cheap hair scissors that he's frantically cutting about to get out of his girlfriend's weird Medusa-like hair. And I like that it seems like this town, for whatever reason, wants to keep these two alive, because he kind of had her where he wanted her, or the spiral, I mean, had it where he wanted her, but he kind of also put the curse on another girl. And another thing that this seems to have to do with, and I'm curious to see where it goes, is a lot of these stories revolve around the victim originally just wanting more attention.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's the girl with the hair who basically, she was jealous of Kiri because her hair got all spirally and started attracting people, so she did the same thing, and then she turned into a skeleton because it like drained her life force. That's what happened, I think, with that one, right?
Yeah, and like her hair stayed up on the telephone pole that she like ended up dying on.
That's right,
for like a couple days or something like that.
And then eventually wilted away. Yeah, so there's that one, and then I think before that there's another one about a girl who was friends with Kiri, and she was basically the most popular girl, always in school.
That's the one that we haven't talked about. That's pretty creepy too.
That's the scar.
Yeah, she had like a moon scar, and it eventually turned into a spiral because she lives in this town.
Mm-hmm.
And Shuichi told her, he said, you got to get out of here. Like, you're already starting to get a little bit of a spiral on you.
I see it. Used to be a scar, like, but now it's a big spiral.
Like, now it's starting to spin a little bit, and she's just pissed because
she's never been turned down
She's never been turned down before, and Shuichi's like, you got to get away from me. You're already infected. I cannot be spinning.
I already have a girlfriend I maybe like a little bit. He's real mean to his girlfriend, if I'm honest. I know that he's being haunted by this weird spiral and his parents are dead, but come on, man. Don't embarrass her at family dinner.
I think it's another horror thing where he's the one guy in the whole thing that's like, man, guys, it's been ghost the whole time. I've seen the ghost. I know the ghost is doing it. It stabbed my brother. I just need you guys to know that we need to be gone now before it's too late.
I will give him a little bit of grace on that, because he is pleading with a lot of people to get out of this town, and it's only just because I guess he managed to get out and go to a different high school. It's weird that no one else has done that, but
he was already going to that high school, and then the weird stuff happened.
Yeah,
I think that's the main reason he has as much like brain about him as he does, because he's the only one that's escaping it for like half the day at least.
Yeah, or at least
He's
he
only getting
was like, I don't. Did he stop going to school after his parents died?
uh
Because I thought that because as the story
kinda.
goes,
Yeah, he kind of becomes a shut in for a little bit.
yeah, and I think there's good pacing with that kind of stuff, like that progression of he's not going completely mad like his folks did,
Yeah.
but you can see it starting to affect him and his decision making because, I mean, he's right about a lot of things, but he is a bit overzealous about some of these situations he's in. They went to that one gravesite where that one annoying kid got killed in a car accident,
Oh yeah.
and he didn't really have a plan other than, I'm just going to hit him in the head with a shovel.
That's a good plan.
I mean, good enough, but he still kind of dropped the ball when he actually needed to do it.
Turns out that guy wasn't even really like, I mean, it's a little bit zombie-y, but like he wasn't like full on zombie. It just happened to be like part of the car was making him bounce. Some real Scooby-Doo nonsense.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, like it was after he like finally stopped, after he like landed a couple times and broke his body enough, part of the suspension of the car got stuck inside of him when he got moved in there, so it was making him bounce. And obviously that wouldn't happen in real life, but it wasn't like zombie come back to life thing, because I don't think he ever actually like talked. They just were like,
they thought he was alive, but really
yeah,
he was just big
frightened by
spring
him.
man.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense because there is a scene where they hear a sound and they're like, what was that? And then it was him jumping out of the thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was probably the most disturbing panel to look at, was when he got hit by that car and was like twisted inside the tire.
Man, I mean, like, I hate to say it, but the kid was kind of annoying, and he jumped in the middle of the road, so like, kind of had it coming.
Yeah. Not, it wasn't the best. She did.
I mean, no means no. It's not like she pushed him. If she had pushed him, like, maybe you could feel sorry for him, but that's kind of on him.
No, he did volunteer for that car, yeah.
He's like, I'm just gonna stand out here until you say yes, and that's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, here's a question for you though, because you've watched a lot of animes and read a lot of mangas. Do people just not like stop when driving in Japan? Because there's been a lot of things that happen because someone gets hit by a speeding car. Again, you're right, that kid jumped out in front of it, but I feel like that car had enough time to stop.
I don't know, man. Like, it's not their job to stop. He shouldn't be in the road.
Yeah.
Was there a sign? Was it?
Look out for this kid. He jumps out in streets a lot.
There's slow children at play. I don't know if they have those over there. Plus, I think they just drive faster over there.
There was no one on that road up
There's
until
more
that
lanes.
point.
I've seen Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Those guys are flying.
Well, I mean, they need the speed, Higgins. Different car franchise.
Yeah, that's the one that didn't take off.
Yeah, poor Aaron Paul. He's fine, I think.
I think we talked them all. I mean, like, I'm trying to think which. The scariest one was number 2 for me, but I think my favorite one's the clay one, because that one's pretty fun.
Clay. Oh,
With
with
her
her dad?
Where he starts going crazy and making pots, and then because that's when you get like your first bit of like story beat, where you're like, oh, the pots start having the faces of like his family in them.
Yes, yeah.
So you're like, oh man, they are going into the lake.
Yeah, their ashes are being sucked down because it's revealed that he gets the clay he's been using
From the lake, or
from
the pond.
the mud of the lake, yeah. And I like the setup for that chapter because it's a few chapters, I think, after the one with Shuichi's dad, and that's what started it, because her dad was normal until his dad basically like
asked him for a pot.
Yeah, because he's like he's the best potter in the land, and that guy wanted a spiral bowl. And the day that his dad killed himself, the girl went to drop off the clay pot, and he said, oh, I don't need it anymore, just give it back to your dad. So I'm assuming what happened is that she gave it back to her dad, and that kind of just made him lose his mind. But I also enjoyed that he didn't go completely insane, because he kept his family away from the kiln since he knew what would happen if someone looked into it, because he was seeing if you look inside the kiln,
He was hearing all the dead people.
Yes, as they were melting inside. Yeah,
They were just screaming at him.
so he was still very crazy, because I think after their kiln burned down, he's just trying to make new pots again. But there is a piece of his normal self still in there because he wants to protect his family. I think there's a lot of fun kind of just murder, mystery, spooky town stuff in this, and I can't wait to read more and talk about it next year for sure. The only thing I'm hoping for is that there's reveals that kind of explain why characters are acting the way they are. And obviously you know whether or not that happens, but just, for this moment in time, pretend that you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen?
God, there's going to be some more spiral mishaps. They've got to try to get out. He keeps saying it. So eventually enough's going to be enough, and they're just going to have to do it. And then, I don't know, what's some more spirals that they haven't done yet?
Oh, like what's some spiral stuff that could happen to people that we haven't seen? I don't know. We saw automobile coil in the boy.
Yeah.
That's pretty standard stuff, I think, for spirals.
Yeah, hair.
Spiral scare, yeah. The spiral in the ear, that's pretty good. The best one was still the one with the two kids intertwining. That's just kind of it's weird, it's creepy, it's ominous because they're the other ones who don't die, but they just disappear, and you're like, what's going on here?
And they saw those snakes. That's what gave them that idea.
That were apparently just having sex.
Oh yeah, that's what it looks like when snakes have sex. They just spin around. I saw it in real life one time.
Man, whatever you want to do with your Saturdays, that's fine.
Man, I was just walking around and I was like, look at that. I've never seen a snake's doogiels before, but here I am. I think that's safe to say on a podcast, right?
Just grab a seat and some popcorn.
If I take a video, I think I'm a National Geographic photographer now.
Yeah, or you're on a list somewhere.
Yeah.
It's tough to say. No, that's great. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest chapter for me. I think if I was going to recommend
a single issue.
Yeah, because I think you could. I think if you explain the premise of this, which is just small town, weird stuff, Spiral's bad, follow these two characters, I think you could, at least for the first 7, you can pick any chapter you want to.
Yeah.
But that's definitely the one I would recommend besides, say, the first one. Yeah, it's good, man. It's solid. And of course, like everybody says it is. And now that I know it is, some people who listen to us on the internet know it is if they haven't.
And they'll be able to listen to more of it eventually because we decided to keep this going for a little bit.
Yep, at least for a little bit.
But not like next month. Don't get any ideas, guys. I don't want to be scared all the time.
No. I mean, you got Christmas coming around the corner. You got to chill out a bit.
Oh, man, we could do a Nightmare Before Christmas episode, though.
Oh, we're doing Santa Claus stuff this year,
right.
Higgins.
I know.
We'll eventually be able to do Nightmare
God,
Before
we
Christmas.
actually have a plan for the first time in forever. Look at us.
Don't count on it happening every time, Higgins. But my plan for right now is to give this book a rating and then perhaps move on to a different segment.
Oh, that sounds good.
Good. Is that a similar plan to what you had?
Yeah, I think we've drawn this boy out as much as she can be drawn.
Yeah. Ito would be proud of the lines we've drawn and the spirals we spoke about.
Oh yeah, we've spun a mean episode so far.
Mm-hmm. Higgins, why don't you spin me a yarn and tell me what you rate this book? The first 7 chapters, of course.
Wow. I think I'm gonna give it like 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. And that's like part of that Fibonacci thing, and that's a spiral. So I'm gonna give it those numbers. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8.
I don't know much about the words you said, so I can't disagree.
You know that thing with like in the Da Vinci Code where he's like Fibonacci?
Oh, the Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's got spirals in it.
Well, that's like the whole thing is it's a spiral. That's what makes nature have spirals.
Okay, back up for a second. Where does Tom Hanks come in?
Da Vinci Code. That's it.
Okay, cool.
He said it one time in a movie, so he's the guy that made it up, I think.
Do you think that it's more worth your time to read the first 7 chapters of this book, Uzumaki, or watch the sequel to the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, which I don't think mostly anybody saw?
Luckily, I've done both. And let me tell you, I watched Angels and Demons in theater.
True fan.
It was fine.
It's fine? Would you rather read this stuff?
Oh, yeah, this is probably better.
Okay, good. So that's what my rating is going to be. I'm going to give this read over.
Slightly better than Angels and Demons.
It's more than slightly better.
Yeah.
I
No,
assume.
I'm just kidding.
I've never seen any of those movies, but Tom Hanks, it's got to be good for something. But regardless, I'm going to say you should read what book? Uzumaki by Junji Ito, the first 7 chapters, and read the next 7 chapters next year.
Yeah, get ahead of us and don't spoil it for us, though.
Yeah,
So
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it, Higgins. I know you've read it.
I know.
You can lie all you want.
God, there's one episode that I just want to I just want to tell you what it is because it's so ridiculous.
Just tell me that. I'm already excited about it. So does it happen in the
I think it's actually the next episode.
The next
next issue, sorry.
All good. I don't know what you meant. I know things, Higgins. And
The
I know
next
that
issue.
we both gave great ratings.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's going to help everyone decide whether or not this is worth their time.
I think we gave it rave reviews, even if they don't understand what any of that meant. But
Higgins, they're our audience, all right? They're smarter than you give them credit for.
I mean, we've made 30 of these things now. 29?
This will be 30.
All right, nice.
Yeah. But I mean, Higgins, we didn't do it on our own. We had some help along the way, obviously. Yeah. We're going to have some help along the way next episode. We can talk about that.
Do you want to tell them the new book before we do our thing or after we do our thing?
What do we usually do?
God, I don't know. I'll give them the book now. That way, if they don't like our other segment, they can leave.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they would feel that way because our next segment is probably our best segment.
Yeah, I know. And it's like the smaller part of the podcast.
Mm-hmm. But enough teasing it. Let's just tell them about what we're going to do next month and with who.
Star Wars.
That's right. Doing Star Wars. It's close.
I'm not a big Star Wars boy, but these guys are trying to make me one.
These guys being
Snoop and our buddy Michael.
That's right.
And he's a special boy.
He's a special boy.
I don't know if we want to wait for him to be here to tell him why he's a special boy, but I think that's what I'm going to do at least.
Okay, no, I'm fine with doing that. You took the lead. I'll respect that.
He's a special boy. Plus, he just had a baby, so everybody say congratulations.
Oh my gosh, so he's a special boy who just had a special boy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And his wife / the mother of his child is also a special girl. She doesn't listen to this, but...
She might. He makes her sometimes.
Oh, that's good. Good. Hey, Aaron. But yeah, so our friend Michael, we're going to read a Star Wars book and a Star Wars book about...
Darth Vader.
Yeah, pretty popular character, I think.
So it's Star Wars, Darth Vader from 2017.
Volume 1.
Volume 1, which is issues 1 through 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's
it'll be in the same book.
So hold on, I can tell you exactly because
6.
Every volume has a name.
It's called The Chosen One.
No, it's not it.
No, it is it.
Oh, it might be it. So we're going to be reading Star Wars, Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, Volume 1, Imperial Machine. Written by Charles Soule. Oh, wait, maybe that's not it. I don't know.
Yeah, Charles Soule.
Oh, is it Charles Soule?
And the artist is the Giuseppe Camuncoli that he said.
Giuseppe Camuncoli.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is it. Good. Whew.
First 6 issues, boys and girls.
If you are, I'm a little confused. So if anyone else is a little confused, if you start reading it and it takes place immediately after Revenge of the Sith, where Darth Vader gets his Darth Vader suit, that's the one you want to read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's about him getting a lightsaber. I've read it, but I've read most of this before, but it's been a while, so I was excited that Michael wanted to talk about it on here with us because I'd like to go back and.
God, I can't wait.
We did the podcast.
I can't wait to say so many wrong things about Star Wars.
Oh my God, Higgins, what's your favorite Star Wars?
Oh man,
just say one of the sequels and you'll technically be wrong according to the internet.
I think the third one's my favorite.
Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Higgins, your luck. This takes place right after that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I think that one's my favorite, and I say that because technically I've only seen the last 6. I did watch the very, very first one that was made not too long ago. So I only have 2 movies that I've missed so far.
Have you watched all of the spinoffs? Solo. The other one.
I missed Solo. I haven't watched any of the cartoons. I read this one book about Darth Maul before Star Wars happened, and that was pretty tight because Darth Maul was just doing Darth Maul stuff and killing people.
That does sound fun.
And I was like, even if I didn't know this was Darth Maul, he's killing people in like a prison beatdown world. That's pretty good.
Big laser swords, right?
Yeah.
Nice. He's got 2 of them, but Darth Vader only has 1, and I think it's okay though. I think you'll like this one. This one's there's story obviously, but it's streamlined, very blockbuster. Star Wars.
As long as someone does a lightsaber, I will be fine.
Dang it, don't worry. There's going to be so many lightsabers. The whole first volume's about getting a lightsaber, I think.
All right, tight.
It's going to be great. You're going to learn all about colors and emotions and such if you're ready for it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're going to have to wait until Michael's here, which will be next month when we release that episode.
All right.
Until then, though, Higgins, we have time.
Readings for squares.
Higgins, did you hear that? Did you hear that theme song?
I was trying to scare you because it's October.
I mean, you did something I didn't like, so congrats. And
I got
thank
a little
you.
close to the mic.
You got very close to the mic. I'll fix it a little bit in post. Yes, it's that time of the month where
we talk about stuff that isn't comics.
that's right. We have other interests than comics. Okay, we're very, very diverse.
Well versed in most pop culture.
What kind of pop culture have you been ingesting this month?
Oh wow. So kind of a lot, but
If you could single it down to one, maybe.
I think I'm gonna do one that we've both done, and then maybe you could do the other one that we've both done, and then people can watch those as we're watching them. I'm gonna do Only Murders in the Building because I really like that one, and I think technically you're past me now, but I wasn't. I was ahead of you before, unless you haven't watched the last issue that's out.
Well, I don't. I might be ahead of you by like an episode, but I'm also not really ahead of you because I skipped
watch
some.
Okay.
Not that I intentionally skipped some. I missed a couple weeks and I didn't watch the ones to catch up. Anyway, good show.
Podception a little bit right now, folks, because this is a show. This is a podcast. What we're doing right now, this is a podcast telling you about a show about people that make a podcast in the show
because they like podcasts.
And it's a true crime podcast. People love hearing stuff about people die. I listen to them. Snoop doesn't listen to them. And a lot of people do. And this one's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because it's got Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez.
Oh, the trio back together again, I think.
Yeah. From that other movie they did with the really racist Mexican stuff.
I don't know what that is.
The Three Amigos. They did it with Chevy Chase, but no one likes Chevy Chase anymore.
So they went and edited it where it's just
Selena
Gomez on a really bad green screen.
That's actually what it's all about, folks.
Nice.
They just made that movie again with her episodically.
In a hotel.
Yeah.
I like it.
But no, basically, they like true crime podcasts, and then a death happens in their building, potentially a suicide. But they're like, no, let's investigate. Let's make our own podcast. Because turns out they all have different stuff in their lives that makes them want to do this. We won't tell you what they are because it's a lot. One guy was like an actor and he's reliving dreams. One was Martin Short. He's just broke, but...
Martin Short was like a theater guy that never made it, I think, is kind of his deal.
Yeah, they all have interest in making something, and this is their chance. And it happened in their building. And so, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, I don't think I'm definitely not the first person to tell you guys this, probably, because people have been, like, talking to me about all over the place.
Yeah.
They're like, have you seen this show? And I was like, have I seen this show? Come on, I've seen 7 of this.
I'm watching it right now on my Apple Watch.
If I had Google Glass, I'd be watching it even right now. On top of my Apple Watch.
Yeah. I think the reason it works so well for many people is, like you said, people love true crime podcasts. This is kind of a spoof on that. And even though there is some mystery and murder happening, Higgins, this is one of the most relaxing shows to come out this year, I think.
These guys are pretty funny, but like not in a in-your-face kind of way.
No, they're not idiots. I mean, they're kind of idiots, but...
The one guy's for sure an idiot.
Yeah, they're all kind of idiots, except Selena Gomez. She seems to be on the up and up, but there's reasons for that. But I mean, yeah, Martin Short, like Steve Martin, just a classic pair.
Yeah, classic pair. I haven't seen Steve Martin in a while. I'm glad to see him. When's the last time? Maybe the sequel to Cheaper by the Dozen.
Cheaper by the Dozen, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
More dozens.
Even more dozens.
Even more dozens.
Although I think in the second one they lose a dozen. It's not important. I like him in this. I like Martin Short in this. I think that I don't have a problem with Selena Gomez as an actress. I think she's okay. I think she is kind of... I can definitely tell like who's been acting more out of the group.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, I think having this element of this younger character hanging out with these old dudes who in the show are just kind of weird losers, and they're forming this bond trying to solve this murder, and it just kind of keeps unraveling. You find out more and more about certain characters' past as it goes that link to what's happening in the building right now. I think that's all really, really fun.
They're all kind of loners, so this is their one thing, and they're like, now we kind of have friends, guys. And that's heartwarming.
It is, really is, and each character is given a lot to work with. The characters outside of the main trio, like, because basically it all does mostly take place inside this ritzy hotel, so the other characters are really getting to interact with and kind of like look into are the other tenants of the hotel, and I think they're all very quirky, and it just kind of adds to the weirdness of this universe that they've set up. It's a good show. I don't think you find anybody who wouldn't enjoy at least some element of it.
Yeah, guys, go watch that.
Do it
Go
right
watch
now.
that thing. It's on FX and the Hulu.
It's
We're not
both.
sponsored by either of those guys, so don't give them any money.
Unless they give us money.
Unless they give us money. We'll be more than willing to put a promo for that at the end of our podcast if you guys ever want to.
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to sell out.
You might have something similar to talk about next month when Michael comes on the show.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So yeah, you said there was another thing you wanted to talk about though.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about any of the number of things. I don't want to talk about what we watched last night
Because we haven't
finished it.
Don't even think about it. But Higgins, maybe you should think about watching another show I want to quickly tell you about. You probably know what it is. You have Disney Plus? You be doing Disney?
I have Disney Plus.
Okay, good. What If just finished, by the way.
Oh man.
But that's not what I'm going to tell you to watch. You should watch it, but what I want to tell you about, more importantly, is Star Wars Visions came out. I think
All right.
2 weeks ago at this point. Man, it's really good.
Is
You
that-
know what it is?
I have no idea.
So
Never heard of it.
never met the man in my life.
Yeah.
Well, I have. He's lovely. Basically, this is 9 episodes. They're Star Wars individual stories, all one and done tales in the Star Wars universe. But I guess you call it gimmick, is each one is directed and animated by a different production studio in Japan. And so you've got like bigwigs like Trigger. That's always the one I think of. Production IG is also one in there. And then you've got just some other studios who I've never heard of, but it's an anthology of Star Wars, but anime. And I think the longest one is maybe like 20 minutes. They're all pretty short.
Man, I can watch a 20-minute episode of anything.
Exactly. And you like anime, so you are indifferent about Star Wars, but maybe this will make you care a little bit more about it.
Maybe.
And the voice cast for the English version is pretty stacked at points. Like
I'm looking at it right now. Allison Brie, David Harbour, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's right. Neil Patrick Harris is in there.
Some other people.
Oh my God, Higgins. Other people are in there.
Brian T.
Yeah.
Neil Patrick Harris. The main guy from Crazy Rich Asians.
Henry Golding.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes own.
And then I think that's all. Oh, look, that's the Heroes guy.
Yeah.
Man, good stuff.
It's good stuff, Higgins. Just look at it on your local look at it on your local Disney Plus when you got some time, and I think you'll be pretty happy overall. I haven't finished them all. I think I've got about 3 left. But what I like about it is just that perfect anthology Saturday cartoon format where you can just
Watch
pop whichever one on and you'll get something out of it.
They got Boba Fett to play Boba Fett. That's pretty cool.
They did get Boba Fett to play Boba Fett, and we'll have more Boba Fett.
See, I know Star Wars a little bit.
Higgins.
To look at that guy's face and know that he's Boba Fett.
Explains the hat you're wearing that says, I know Star Wars.
Oh, man.
It's got a little lightsaber.
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah.
I know Star Wars, but I don't like it.
That's what it says on the back. And it's just it's a Star Destroyer, but it's got a little sad face on it.
It's a pretty good hat.
It is a good hat, yeah. So yeah, check that out if you want. And that's really all I have to. I mean, I've got more to talk about, Higgins. I got more going on in my life, but I don't want to bore you. It's getting kind of late.
Yeah, I don't want to bore these folks either.
No, not these good folks. We love these folks.
I'm gonna tell them if they love us that they can do stuff about it, and I guess I'll do it. That's my jam.
I mean, you said you do it, so
Yeah, I did go in there.
Yeah.
So like you can find us if you want to talk to us at certain places.
we'd love that.
I will talk back. I'm assuming it won't be that many of you. If it starts to be too much, cutting you off.
Yeah.
I don't want you guys to be too needy. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mike Higgins 93 and JSturm93 respectively, not respectfully.
I checked. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can find Snoop Lynch. He doesn't do those though, so you can really find him at yourcomrades@gmail.com.
That's right.
We would love an email.
We love emails. We got emails recently. They weren't important, so send us a more important email.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do that, but you want to do something else, you can leave us a rating and review. I understand if you don't want to do Apple. I'm sorry if you're listening, Apple, but you burnt this bridge. They've lost me. I'm officially a Spotify podcast boy.
Oh, yeah? What happened?
Their new updates just unbearable.
Oh, they changed the UI or whatever?
Yeah, it's just unusable.
Apple. Well, did they make leaving a review easy enough still? Because if
Oh
not,
yeah. If you're still using that platform, then you can leave a review.
thank God.
I don't know where to leave reviews other than Apple, because I haven't looked that hard, but I looked on Spotify and didn't really see a spot.
I don't think you can leave reviews on Spotify, at least not easily. Apple seems to be or maybe it's not anymore, but it seems to be the best way to do so. I'm trying to see.
Review-wise, it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we've had any recent reviews. Just let me take a look at that.
Oh yeah, I haven't even given her.
I know. We've been complaining about people not leaving us reviews for months now, and as far as we know, we could have 30 just ready to go.
We almost made it through the episode without a Charlie shake. She was doing so good.
She's just got to let people know she's here.
He's like, don't worry, guys. I have a lot of thoughts.
Exactly. A lot of feelings. I'm going to reviews, see if I can find any. Oh, wait, no, there's an update. So I didn't know this. You can actually update reviews.
Oh, wow.
And they show up at the bottom of a review you've seen
Oh,
already.
2021 update.
Yeah, you see
Wow.
that? You want to read that out and who that's from and such?
Sure. 2021 update. Since the original writing of this review, the world has entered an apocalyptic pandemic and seemingly unavoidable anarchy. An orange man tried to take over the world. Murder and chaos took over the streets of major metropoli across America, and a Harvard scientist has published research confirming thousands of alien civilizations across the universe. Well, that sounds like the inside cover of a post-modern multi-issue series that's just the year 2020. What hasn't changed is this podcast.
Oh.
Great job, gentlemen. And when you're ready to review the historical account of 2020, I volunteer as a special guest.
Wow. And that was an update, 2021 style, from C. Brian H., my boss.
Your boss boy.
It's my boss, Brian, yeah.
One of our biggest fans.
He's maybe our biggest fan. And
He likes listening to
man, what
we
a way
do.
with words he has. That's a great...
One day we should read that comic that he gave us like 2 years ago.
Oh, he should be our special guest for that one.
Oh,
you
that
think?
would be
Yeah.
good.
It is the one issue, but I'm sure we could talk about other things as well.
Yeah, we could.
He could tell us about cigars. He's all into that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, something. We'll figure it out. But thank you, Brian, my boss.
Thank you, Brian, his boss.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to do something similar, or if you've never left a review, that's okay. You can leave a review for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying any names of people who should, but
We have-
Andy, you've got the time.
God, we've got so many friends.
God, but specifically Andy,
You've got the time.
you're listening to this right now.
He might be asleep.
Maybe. But if you're not, I left a link to the review option in the description notes if you just want to give that a check.
But
But
I guess we can get out of here.
we can get out of here for another month, I think. Yeah.
We're kind of spiraling.
Oh, God.
God, I got one more in.
Someone say it's your only one you got, but well done, Higgins. Well done. You said all the things you need to say. I agree with almost all of them. And I can't wait to see you and everyone else, and Michael, more specifically Michael, will go into why I'm excited to see him next month on another episode of Comrades, Cocktails, and Comics. Until then, though, I will say cheers, guys, and Higgins is getting ready to say something like...
The drink's empty now, guys, so I can't spiral it anymore.
Oh, I can. Here, give me the spoon. Toss it. Oh, wait, you do it.
Ooh.
It's more of a spin, this spiral.